mentally ill, right? They
Right.
struggle with things. Um, how can they identify? How can you help someone if you know someone that's struggling? Because a lot of people who have mental health issues, they might not even notice it themselves. They aren't
Right.
aware, right? So if
Right.
you have a family member or someone you know, friends or family, and for our audience out there, if they identify someone with a mental health issue, but
Right.
then they're maybe stubborn or don't want to admit to it, how do you deal with that?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, the first part you're going to have to do is identify and help them to identify and maybe talk about it in a non-threatening way. And just say, hey, have you ever talked to anybody that struggles with this? Have you noticed you do this? What do you think about it? And it's got to be in a non threatening, asking them for clarity type questions. And, Kevin, when anybody comes to see me or talk to me or do all that, the relationship has to be built enough and they have to trust me enough to be able to shoot them straight so that they're going to hear it and listen. So it's like kind of know where you've got to know where you are with that individual on what stage in the conversation you need to have. Like if it's your child and you see they're struggling with like a mental illness, it's like, what do you think you should do, Kevin?
Talk to
Well,
them, right? Yep.
Yeah. And that's what it all comes down to with just about any situation. It's like if we're listening, if we're truly digging for their happiness and what's going on in them, you're truly listening to their challenges, you're going to know if they have more anxiety than a kid should at that age. You're going to know if they're really depressed. But the one thing that most parents don't do is have those conversations. It's like, a kid gets on average 10 minutes of conversation per week from a parent, meaningful conversation. So it's like, that's got to change. It's like you got to listen to your kids instead of telling them or fixing them, you're broke, you got to do this, you got to do this, you need to do this. No, 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 no. It's going to take, hey, what's going on, bud? Wow, that sounds really hard. Sounds like that's scary. Tell me about that.
I think that's human nature too, Jeff. You pointed out something that's, I think a lot of us do, right? I say this in the business world too. We're all fixers.
Yeah,
We love to be coaches, consultants, therapists in our own world, right? So
right.
you'll notice that in your social media feed. As soon as you ask a question about anything, if you want engagement, you just play dumb and ask a question like you're just a dummy. And all of a sudden,
Right,
here's how you do it. This is what you do. This is, schedule this, do
right,
this. And I think it's natural human nature. Like if my son come to me, it's like, okay, Dad Mo, let's fix it. You know.
right.
But you pointed out something as first learning to listen, right?
Well, there's reasons for that, Kevin. It's like for one, if we just fix it, then they don't get the experience of learning to fail. And so, like, if we're fixing all their problems, then they're not learning the experiences that we're supposed to be there to be with them and to support them and to help them through. So it's like the fixer part of it. We think kids need to be told what to do. They need to know our morals and values. They need to know all these things. I'm going to tell you they do. They do know these things. You just have to help them find them.
Good.
Too many parents are tellers. Too many are fixers. Too many, and this is people in general. In certain jobs, you're supposed to be a fixer. That's your role, and taking that on is good because that's what you're supposed to do. But in general, with your friends, they don't want to be told what to do. They want to be heard. Your partner, she doesn't want you to sit there. She comes to you with a problem. Then you need to go fix this, and you need to talk to them, and you need to go do this. It's just saying, yeah, you're too dumb to figure this out. I'm smarter. I'm going to tell you.